Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1324A, and today's date is July 5th, 2017, and the title of the episode is The Most Accurate Economic Predictor Just Rolled Over. You know what happens next. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Well, it looks like the retail apocalypse, it is continuing. We're seeing True Religion Apparel. Well, they finally threw in the towel, and they're filing for bankruptcy. And we can see that there are many other retailers that are going to be going through this. And remember, going back in time, Moody's made up a list which showed which retailers are going to enter bankruptcy, or they're very close to bankruptcy, and they're going to be filing very soon. Now, we can cross True Religion off of that list, but we have to look, and we see that there are many other retailers. The Bon-Ton stores, they're on the list. We're looking at 99 cents only stores, Tom's Shoes, Charming Charlie, Neiman Marcus Group, Sears Holding, Chino's, Nine West, Claire's, Gymboree, and many, many others that are on the list, on the chopping block. And we can see that the retail industry, it is not improving. Now, I know they're out there and they're telling us that everyone's going to online. That's where all the sales are going. Well, guess what? Online sales are not reflecting this. Yes, have they improved over time? Yes, because this is a new place to go shopping. Over time, it has improved. But has it replaced the brick and mortar stores? Absolutely not. Are we seeing an equal move from brick and mortar over to online? Absolutely not. Now, over this 4th of July vacation period, we saw that retail traffic during the weekend, well, it completely dried up. Prodco Retail Traffic Analytics, well, they revealed that the U.S. consumer continued to hibernate into the 4th of July weekend, and store traffic was down by 8.1% leading up to July 4th. Now, we can see at this point that people, well, they don't have extra funds to go out shopping. I mean, this has been proven time and time again. And as we can see, more people who are losing their jobs in retail, well, these people don't have extra funds to go out shopping. And we can see that corporations, well, they're continually laying off people. Now, a couple days ago, we talked about manufacturing. And we had two different articles out there, one coming from markets saying that manufacturing is declining. We don't see full growth there. It's not doing well. Then we had Bloomberg, which was out there saying that manufacturing is doing fantastically. Now, we look at the actual factory orders month on month, and we see May orders, they've tumbled by 0.8%. Now, this is the hard data, and the hard data, well, that is continually declining. This is a very big slide. Now, what we're looking at is that defense, aircraft, and parts, they're down by negative 30%. So without war, guess what? The economy completely implodes on itself. And we see that non-defense aircraft and parts, they're down 11.6%. So what does this tell us? It tells us without these things in there, factory orders, non-existent. This is what we are seeing. Now, out in Illinois, they're having major problems. Now, the Senate passed the vote to hike the income tax by 32%. The vote went through by 72 to 45. And the governor vetoed the bill. But the Senate decided they were going to override this. And they basically went ahead and they said, nope, we're going to make this tax hike. They also approved, with a vote of 39 to 14, the spending bill. And the spending bill is a little more than $36 billion. And this is where you could tell they're completely out of touch, where a lot of these government officials, they really don't understand what's going on there, because this spending bill is about $4 billion more than it currently takes in from taxes. In other words, Illinois just saved itself from default by assuring it would end up with even more debt, because they don't have the taxes to cover this new spending bill. So they're going to have to borrow the money. I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous. Now, we've been looking at many different indicators, and these indicators are showing that we are approaching or we are in a recession. From everything that I've been looking at, everything that I've been talking about, we are in this recession. But there is one predictor, a single most accurate predictor of the economy that it tells us that something bad is about to happen. And when we look at this, it's very hard to massage. Yes, can they massage GDP? Yes. Can they massage unemployment? Yes. When I say massage, I really mean manipulate. Can they massage or manipulate the ISM surveys? Yeah, they can manipulate all of this stuff. But this one indicator is very difficult to manipulate. It's tax revenue. It's corporate tax revenue. And when we look at this, we can see we have a major problem. Now, the corporate tax revenue, it's either the taxes are there, the revenue is there, or it is not. There's no in between. And if the economy is booming, the corporate tax revenues rise as companies generate greater revenue, and they pay out more taxes, they hire more people, things are fantastic. And if the economy is rolling over, corporate tax revenues plunge as companies close up shop and stop paying taxes. Guess what we are seeing? Now, this started back in 2016, and we reported on this. And this is why I'm saying most likely they're going to go back to probably the middle of 2016 and say, this is when the recession started, according to the government, according to the Fed. But we've been tracking this. We know this is when this has started. Now, what you're looking at here is you can see that state and local corporate tax revenues, well, they have rolled over in a massive way. If we were to analyze the corporate tax chart, we would see the uptrend of growth, and then all of a sudden it was broken, and we are now trending downward. We've been trending downward since 2016. Now, why does this matter? Because it serves as a clear signal that the U.S. economy is rolling over in a big way. Indeed, the last time we saw state and local corporate tax revenues roll over like this, guess when it was? Late 2007, early 2008. And we all know what happened to stocks after that. The only difference between then and now is that the 2017 stock market is much, much larger. We have bigger bubbles. The economy is built on a house of cards, on an illusion, which is not going to end well. We all know what happens when these things all point to one thing and one thing only: a recession, a depression, a collapse. Now, think about what Janet Yellen said. And it's amazing when she said this. The timing is incredible. Remember, she said, there is unlikely to be another financial crisis in our lifetimes. Everything is strong. It looks great. Now, for those people who have been through other cycles, we've seen this before. We've seen it many times before. And if we look, we can see that back in 2007, Mervyn King of the Bank of England said our banking system is much more resilient than in the past, precisely because many of these risks are no longer on their balance sheets, but have been sold off to people willing and probably more able to bear it. Well, we know how that ended. We ended in a crash. Economist Rudy Dornbush, a close associate of the Fed Vice Chair Stanley Fischer, he wrote back in July of 1998 in the Wall Street Journal, titled "Growth Forever. The possibility of an imminent recession is remote, and the country will not see a recession for years to come." Well, what happened in 2001? we saw the dot-com bust. We saw a recession. In 2005, Milton Friedman, well, he could have been paraphrasing Janet Yellen, where he concluded that the stability of the economy is greater than it has ever been in our history. We really are in a remarkable shape. He went on to give Alan Greenspan credit for the expansion. In early 2007, then, Ben Bernanke predicted, we'll see some strengthening in the economy sometime during the middle of the new year. Now, he said this in 2007, and he said this for 2008. And we know what happened in 2008. So we have seen all of this before. These individuals have broadcasted their positive message only to have the economy fall apart each and every time. And here we are with this signal from the Fed where they're saying, okay, we're jumping ship. Good luck, everyone. Everything's going to be okay. Remember what happened out in Spain when the president of the bank said, don't worry, and all those gigantic insiders, they were taking out as much as they possibly can, and all those other people, the smaller individuals, were saying, oh, okay, don't worry, everything's going to be okay. Well, they're the ones who got hurt. Everyone else took their funds out of the system. This is what happens each time. And what we're seeing right now is the same thing happening, where they've given their warning and they're ready to jump ship to say, I'm out. Now, of course, they're not going to take the blame because they're going to blame this on someone else, on another country, another group. The president doesn't make a difference, as long as the central bank is not to be blamed for this. And we see at this point that from every single indicator that we've been looking at, the system's breaking down. And when you don't have the tax revenues coming in, especially from corporations, that tells you that corporations are not doing well whatsoever. That shows you they're just hanging on. And they've been declining, which shows us that they're not making the sales, they're not bringing in the revenue, and there's going to be huge layoffs. If you go back to 2007, actually, if you go back to 2006, because that's when it really started, and you go forward, you see the same exact pattern, where all of a sudden, corporate revenues, up until about 2006, they were rising. They dropped a little bit, then they rose a little bit in 2007, and then they started coming straight down. And all of a sudden, we were in a recession. What do we see now? Well, in 2015, we saw the corporate revenues dropping a little bit. Then all of a sudden they shot up. And then in 2016, they started to fall. And here we are in 2017, and they're heading straight down. Actually, we're below the point now where we were when the recession started in 2008. This is why they're going to go back in time and say, okay, the recession started in this point in time. So we can see already that things are not going well. We're at that point. This is an indicator where either the taxes are there or they're not there. And this tells us we are in major trouble. So it's just a matter of time. So get prepared, because this economy is not going to last. We're seeing all the warning signs. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.